Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Jason, back at it again with another Geography Now video. Now, I apologize if the upload for this is a bit late. Now, I did try earlier, but this tablet, it keeps, the first time it shut down, and then I had to do it again, and then the second time, it just ended because there's no more storage, okay? I don't delete anything, okay? But, hopefully, this is the third time and final time. I'm I feel like I'm late, but I don't know. I just third time. I don't know. But anyways, if please before when we get started with this video, please like, subscribe, comment down below what geography now videos I should react. I'm trying to expand on my channel. I always do this, but I never do. I always leech on one topic, but I'm trying to. Okay, so comment. So, anyways, let's just get started with this video. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, this is it. Now that the Sudan
But like I said, I'm trying to expand and not try to like suck on one topic. Okay.
It begins with some very tall people in a very large swamp.
It's time to learn geography now. Let's go. And there we go. He's always gotta like
These shirts are made
always hook up with the merch, bro.
Thank you, Ruba, from the Sudan episode for making these. If you'd like one of these, support Ruba's business at unityshirtshop.com. Now, South Sudan
Bro,
is
even if this video is like it's upload, like the editing is gonna like,
as you know, one thing we love to do on this show is have
the
people
storage
from
is gonna be.
in the country episodes. So say hi to Geograpeeps, Akan, and Yamal.
Yeah, we got new people.
What are some things
Just like
you
the
think
last
absolutely
episode.
everybody must know about South Sudan? Very quickly, what do you think?
Well, South Sudan is home of the most melanated and lengthy people on the planet.
The food, great, natural, amazing.
There's so much we got to cover in this episode, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
All right,
the
well, let's do it.
little Civil War.
So, as the newest country on earth, obviously boundaries and borders had to be established.
But even then, things still got a little tricky.
Let's
I
explain.
mean, it's Africa.
First
Have you
of all,
seen like the
country is
tribal
landlocked
map?
within East
That is
Central
like-
Africa, surrounded by 6 other countries, and has 3 disputed areas and 1 condominium. The first dispute lies within the Kafia Kingi salient, which technically belongs to them on paper according to the comprehensive peace agreement that they signed with Sudan. Sudanese forces are still mostly in control as it acts as a biosphere reserve for the Radom National Park. Fun fact, Warlord
for
Joseph Kony is
national
speculated to be
park.
hiding here. Moving on, the border with Uganda also has some border dilemmas, especially around the town of Moyo. Historically, the borders were never really
Moyo.
properly demarcated, so
I
they just
love
kind of
these
left it up
African
to the
names, 'cause
peoples
they're
in
so
the area to
weird
figure it
and
out.
bizarre.
Finally, we
That's
have the
funny.
Alemi Triangle. Long story short, this area at the tri-point of Ethiopia and Kenya is under de facto Kenyan control, but claimed by South Sudan, as it had to do with confusing borders that were drawn and redrawn during British imperial years. If South Sudan were to come into control of this area, it would give them the most narrowest passage, only a few meters wide, to Lake Turkana, but alas, Kenya has de facto control. Otherwise, they share the Abyei
Oh, really?
condominium with Sudan, which means both countries
that
have joint
point, it's
control
like-
over it, as agreed upon after independence.
don't even
Moving
bother
on, the
me.
country is divided into 10 states, 2 administrative areas, and of course, the special administrative area of Abyei. Aw, this state is called Unity, and this one's called Lakes. The 2 administrative areas are Pibor and Ruweng, which act as zones that have a slightly different status due to various compromises made with inhabiting ethnic groups. In any case, the capital and largest city is Juba, located in the southern part of the country. Here you can also find the largest and busiest airport, Juba International, which serves as the main hub for any foreign visits to the country. From there, the second largest city would be Bor, located about 100 miles or 160 kilometers north of Juba in the Jonglei state. However, the second busiest airport is actually located in the 5th largest city, Malakal, located in the north and eastern Nile state. With the exception of the inner city roads and one highway between Juba and Nimule on the border with Uganda, nearly all the rest of the roads of South Sudan are unpaved gravel roads. Finally, the country has only one railway that connects them to Sudan from the city of Wau in the northwest to the city of Bamnusa in Sudan. The line was heavily destroyed during the Civil War, but rehabilitated with UN funds and reopened in 2010.
Keep in mind, the
Yeah.
states are often bunched into 3 historical provinces that many people might refer to if you ask them. They are Barkazal, Equatoria, and Greater Upper Nile.
Also, Juba isn't even that old. It actually started as a trading post made by Greek settlers in the 1920s.
And
Greeks.
speaking of condominiums, South Sudan used to belong to the largest one
Bro, I
ever
would-
made, the
I-
Anglo-Egyptian condominium.
Yeah,
In
speaking
fact,
of that,
South
I would
Sudan was
expect it would
kind
be
of
longer
triple
because of
colonized. It was like
the Ottomans.
Look, Egypt, technically run by an Albanian guy under the Ottoman Empire. You and I are both powerful people. Let's say we team up and we control pretty much the whole Nile.
Okay, so we're not part of the British anymore, but I'm still in charge of you.
Okay, I'm not part of Egypt anymore, but I'm still in charge of you. Okay, we had 2 civil wars after giving you autonomy. Clearly, we can't stick as one. Here's your independence.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, and also you can't use our oil pipes.
What? Yeah, that's an incredibly condensed version, but yeah, triple colonized. You get
So in summary,
the thing about South Sudan is that even
people
though
don't like being
cities are growing, they
conquered
still
by
have one of
other
the most
people.
rural, dispersed populations on Earth.
So obviously, due to this interesting layout, getting around in South Sudan is quite different from most places. For example, they have like an app that's kind of like Uber. It's called Shilu Ana. What do you guys know about getting
South
around in South
Sudanese
Sudan?
Uber.
Like, I visited a couple years ago. There's no like direct way or direct direction of how to get around. Every man for themselves. There's a lot.
Oh, also, Yamal, you wanted to mention a cool place. What was it?
We can't forget Nasser. That is the city where my family is from, my parents. So shout out to Nasser.
What ethnic group is from there?
Nuer.
So if you want to learn about the Nuer people. Oh, and Akan, you said something about hotels in South Sudan. What was it about?
So when I went to South Sudan, I realized that a lot of people lived in hotels, and those are people that have the means, the money.
Dude, that looks so weird. It's
Otherwise,
like a
people live
building
in,
behind a
like,
building
huts
behind
and
a building.
places with no electricity.
So it's kind of like if you got the money, you go for a hotel.
Exactly.
In addition, there's so many cool nature spots of South Sudan, and that just, I guess that brings us on to the next segment.
Now here's the thing. Yes, South Sudan usually punctuates its rank on the poorest countries by nominal GDP lists.
And yes, statistically, the majority of the population, especially in rural areas, don't have regular access to certain utilities.
But the funny thing is, by all means, it's a nation with lots of potential to flourish. But it's just, the political atmosphere always kind of gets in the way. The politicians, everything just...
Yeah.
The good news is the dust is now just starting to settle. And there's a lot of promising recovery work happening.
First,
Civil War
let's explain
ended
the
in
physical layout.
Now, from the globe, you can
2020.
tell that South Sudan's domain lies just below the Sahara in the beginning of the lush green belt of Africa. This means the majority of the country is lush, with tropical grasslands and savannas and forests. This is partially due to the Ironstone Plateau on the west side of the country, a slightly elevated region about 800 to 1,000 meters above sea level that gets copious amounts of rain that inevitably flush into the Barkazal region. The only places of noticeable arid landscape would be the far north Upper Nile salient area on the border with Sudan, and the far southeastern corner on the Alemi Triangle with Kenya and Ethiopia. All the lush greenery is fed by the longest and most important river of the nation, the White Nile. The thing is, the White Nile isn't even easily traceable due to the fact that it feeds through the largest freshwater wetland in the Nile Basin, the massive and famous Sud. At some point past the town of Malakal, the White Nile just kind of thins out and flattens into all the Ironstone Plateau runoff, creating an incredibly massive swamp with an impossibly complicated maze of disjointed tributaries that sometimes dead end, dry up, or cut off into oxbow lakes. This is where it gets its name from, the Sud being Arabic for barrier or obstruction. In ancient times, the Egyptians couldn't get past this maze, and neither could the Romans. Many sources will just claim that the Sud swamp is considered the
I
largest
know they
inland
had
body of
Egypt,
water
but I
in
didn't know they
itself,
went
since
that
it's too difficult to measure the
Jesus.
constantly fluctuating levels of water in dry and wet seasons. However, I kind of wanted to be a little bit more thorough and see if there were any actual lakes of substantial volume, and I believe this one, near the 7-degree latitude, 30-degree longitude line, near the village of Genglil, is the largest of all the river lakes. All these waters, though, eventually meet up in the south, where the highest elevations are in the Imatong Mountains near Uganda, and it is also here where you can find the tallest peak of the nation, Mount Kinyeti, at about 3,200 meters high.
Yeah, water is almost overly abundant in South Sudan, and the people here are kind of flood experts. For example, in some places like Awil, the capital of Barkazal, the population fluctuates seasonally as people move back and forth between the plains during the dry season to tend to their crop fields, and then they move back to the city when the floods return.
Now, here's something even more interesting. South Sudan is actually very rich
Don't work
in oil.
hard.
South Sudan actually
Work
ranks
smarter,
third
I
in
guess.
oil reserves in sub-Saharan Africa, most blocks located in the northern part of the country.
Here, the potential to produce 3.5 billion barrels annually exists. However, only about 10% of it is tapped.
Hey, you destroyed some of the oil fields in the Civil War like Block 5. And then you suspended us from using your oil pipes in 2012.
Yeah, but then I reopened them because clearly you need my port for global trade and my refineries because you don't have any.
Not for long, 'cause I'm building 2 refineries. Then hopefully I can ditch you for the lap set project.
Wait, what? Oh, you little.
Yeah, as of 2021, the Ministry of Petroleum started their first rounds of investment bidding for oil licensing. And currently they are trying to invest in connecting a pipeline to Lamu Port in Kenya.
But it
Come
will take
on,
some
Sudan.
time, and
Look
they
what
have
you're
to work
trying to
out
do.
perfectly.
Nonetheless,
Blasting the
much of
money.
the economic progress was hindered in the decade following independence.
For now, South Sudan still currently
Come on,
has
you guys
one of
got
the most
oil. Let's get to
underdeveloped
work.
economies with the
Let's
highest
get to
aid
work.
dependency on Earth.
They even import much of their food from neighboring Uganda and Kenya, which is weird because the World Food Program estimates that about 90% of their country is arable, yet only about 5% is cultivated.
Regardless of the low GDP statistics, they don't seem
That's-
to have many
No,
problems.
no,
with
no,
food
no, no.
insecurity.
I'm
Due to
sure
the
they
highly
probably know
fertile
that's
lands,
bad.
most people have access to their own subsistence crops, and they have one of the largest population of pastoralists in the
Jesus.
world.
In
Look at
fact,
those
there are more
cattle,
cattle in the
bro.
country than people. Speaking
Those
of cattle,
horns,
let's
bro.
move on to the wildlife section with Gary Harlow to explain. Hey everybody, so yeah, Caleb aka Gary Harlow was gonna film this, but his wife is incredibly pregnant. She could be giving birth like right now as we speak. So I'm gonna film it
Yeah.
in 6 national
Congratulations.
parks, 11 nature reserves,
Let's go.
all taking up about 15% of their entire land mass. Thanks to the low density of human population,
Come
we have
on.
the second
At least
largest
do
animal
like the
migration on Earth.
accent,
About 900
man.
species of birds can be found here, including the unique-looking shoebill bird, because its bill
I
looks
feel
like
like
a
this is gonna
shoe.
last for like
But if
2
you're
seconds.
lucky, you can see the
Did you just
national
not see the
animal, the
bird?
African
Bro.
fish eagle. South Sudan
Before
is a
the bald
refuge for
eagle.
some incredibly
Did you not
rare
see- that was a
species
weird
such
bird.
as Grevy's zebra, the largest of all the zebras, and
But
the
what
African
is that
wild
zebra?
dog. Of course, with lots of rivers and water bodies, you can find lots of fish, such as the beach-eared fish. It's a lungfish. It can partially breathe on land and crawl up with its pectoral
Bro, look at
fins.
those.
In fact, it's often
Looks
said
like a
that
mini-
fish in South
mini-
Sudan
mini
live
version of
long and die
Godzilla.
old because people don't
He
eat
even
fish
got
that
like
much
the
in South
spikes
Sudan.
on the
They're
back and
focused on
everything, bro.
livestock. You
I need
could
to stop with
potentially
this
catch a
Godzilla
huge
references,
tilapia,
I
perch,
swear.
or catfish like the size of you in their rivers or waters. So that's pretty much all I got here. Caleb, can't wait to see your kid. Have a good one.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Let's
to
go,
learn, though.
Caleb. He's gonna become a
We
dad.
could. I wonder
Like
why.
the
That's
Shilluk
No
people
more
focus on that kind of
sleeping
aspect.
You guys love
like a
your
king.
livestock, but you have so much
Always
faith.
waking up in the middle of the night to feed him.
Honestly.
Or her, I don't know who it is.
Take this away, Akan. Hey, Akan.
What a guy, let's go.
Akon.
Akon. You're not
On the
Akon.
music. Well, regardless, South Sudan definitely has an amazing food scene that is very underrated.
Bro,
explain
why you
more,
gotta
here's-
show me this when I'm hungry?
To be honest, we have a lot of cuisines, but let me just pick some of them.
Please,
we have
bro,
Asida,
come on,
and
man.
we have a Kisra
I'm
that
hungry.
was inherited from
Like,
the north. We
I
have
want
Manyakelo,
McDonald's
we
or
have
something.
a Kop, we have Walwal.
This is gonna
and
make
the
me
good
w-
thing of Walwal
it's
is
gonna make it worse.
Coming to the Equatorias, there is a Gwede Gwede, there is Samagarubutu, there is Ocholamero, Dodo, Janga Janga,
Ocholamero.
and also breweries is part of our life. We do have a Kwete, we have Kenyimuru, we have Guntok. We love food. We offer food to you when you come to us. We eat when we are at the funeral. We eat when we are, if you have an event without food, nobody's going to like speak good about it.
Thank you, Lungfala. Fun fact, if you order a combo with a drink and fries, you'll get a combo. No, you have to like literally.
Actually, slap you?
Yeah, slap him.
Your mom's best dish that she can make. Go.
Cook. Ooh, easily cook.
Go.
The best that I would choose is mula kudra, and people come together like and you all share.
Kumbu
Everything's kind of
combo.
communal. when you
Jesus
eat,
Christ.
Right.
man.
It's weird to eat alone.
I know, that's what I live, but like
If
still,
you're
I'm thinking
cooking,
of that
you
now.
have to
It's
cook
like,
for
oh,
everybody
so
in the
good.
house.
Yes.
In any case, like the food, the people of South Sudan come in so many different groups and styles. Let's talk about that now in.
Demographics.
All right, so Yamal, Akan, what do you think it means to be South Sudanese? What is a South Sudanese person?
Knowing a lot about yourself. And naturally, we're very spiritual people. So we believe in the power of your words. We believe in community. We believe in family.
And adding on to what
Okay, I'm
Jamal
sorry.
said,
I'm
being
so
South
sorry,
Sudanese
bro.
means that you have like an ambition to be something greater than the place that you come from.
Cheers for South Sudanese people. All right. Well, okay, so within South Sudan, there are tons of tribes and clans and ethnic groups. The vast majority, though, belong to one of the most distinct people groups on the planet, the Nilotes. We'll talk about them in a bit, but first, the graph.
First of all, the country has a population of about 11 million people, with over 60 tribes or ethnic groups, and about half of the population is 18 or under. Within these various groups, the vast majority,
didn't like Sudan, South Sudan had like a civil war because of like Muslims,
whereas the remaining population
North,
is mostly Niger-Congo groups,
and
sometimes
then
falling under the alternate Bantu title. Within these
Christianity
groups,
in
a
like
few
the
stick out
South.
as the larger, more
Sounds so
predominant
dumb
communities.
saying
The
the
Dinka are the largest, at
Muslim,
somewhere around 35% of the population, the next being the Nuer at about 16%. And from there, it's kind of debatable on which one comes in third, as statistical data is usually difficult to get exact estimates, but each of the three tribes, the Shilluk, Bari, and the Niger-Congo Bantu group, the Azande, all have very similar populations and take up about 5% each. From there, the rest of the population is made up of the remaining 55 or so tribal and ethnic groups, usually ranging anywhere between a couple thousand to less than 100,000 each in population.
We use the South Sudanese pound as our currency, and we use the type
1,000.
C and D outlet.
That inflation must be high over there.
The official language
It
of the
looks
country
cool, though.
is English. However, of course, most people use the mother tongue of their tribe or ethnic group first.
Keep in mind, though, due to the influence of Sudan when they were under Sudan, some people, mostly in Juba, still speak a dialect of Arabic called Juba Arabic, which is kind of like a mix between Arabic, English, Turkish, and native words from various tribes.
There is no single type of South Sudanese person. However, as we explained, the vast majority are Nilotic peoples.
We've talked about these people before in previous episodes, but recap.
Nilotic peoples, or Nilotes in short, are some of the most distinguishable individuals not just in Africa, but the whole world.
For one, due to our genetics, many have very commonly noticeable features such as long, slender, ectomorphic physiques, long limbs, some of the darkest pigments of the skin, and height in the world.
Okay, I'm
this is a bit
cheesy. The height
cheesy.
range. So clearly Nimal is the tallest.
Supermodel.
Period.
That's right. After Dutch males, Nilotic men are considered the
I don't know about
tallest
you
people
guys,
on Earth,
but I
and
kind of need
specifically
some of that
Dinka and
genetics,
Shilluk
to be
peoples,
honest, to
averaging
grow a
about
little
181
taller.
to 182 centimeters
But I might
respectively.
become a
Your
little
men's
slimmer though, so
Our men.
I think that's the downside.
The way you said that. Anyhow, faith-wise, almost 2/3 of the country are Christian, with about 30% adhering to traditional African beliefs like animism, and the remaining population is mostly Muslim.
Now, considering how the majority of the country is Nilotic and non-Muslim, you might kind of pick up on the hints that played into the Civil War when they were under Sudan's rule in the north.
Let's have geography Akech explain.
So basically what happened was that, Sudan and South Sudan, they're really two different lands. They're different every single way, in terms of land, in terms of religion, in terms of culture, in terms of the people in general. As you know, in Sudan,
is
people
this
are
guy in the
mostly
military?
Africans and Arabs, and in South Sudan, people are mostly just Africans. And then
Thank you for your service, man.
And then when Great Britain colonized us, it seems like they forced two different lands together. And then not only that is when they left, they also put most of the control of Sudan to people from the north, who in turn discriminated against people from the south.
Yeah, let's go British.
There was about 500,000 deaths as a result of the war. But the war that most people
They were like, nah, we in here, and then we gonna have this Berlin press conference, and that it just went downhill for Africa ever since that.
During that war, atrocities were committed by both sides on a massive scale. And not only that, it wasn't only just the South fighting the North, but it was tribes within the South fighting each other at that time, while we were also fighting against Sudan. And I guess that's what also led to the bitterness between North and South Sudan. That's what also led to the bitterness between all the tribes in South Sudan. I'd say one thing that every single family in South Sudan has in common is that they all have lost somebody in that war against the North. A lot of people lost their lives at that war.
Thank you, Akech.
Then in 2013, there was an internal war. In a nutshell, it went like,
oh, you are totally gonna coup d'etat me. Well, yes,
Oh,
I usually
yeah.
wear a cowboy hat in public. George W. Bush got me into this trend.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, at least he
I was
knows.
totally
Like,
not
I'm
gonna
always like,
coup
why
d'etat
is he
you.
always wearing cowboy?
Oh,
This is kind of stupid.
I'm so tired. 400,000 people killed and a third of my country displaced.
We're better than this.
We need to stop.
Peace deal?
Yeah.
Okay, peace
Let's
deal.
do it.
Yeah.
Speaking of margaritas.
And from there, a national unity government was established, giving representation to all political factions.
In any case, like many of our
I
previous
hope
episodes,
this is
South
the
Sudan
last
is a
civil
country
war
with
that
extreme
South Sudan
tribal
has to
and
go
ethnic
through, honestly.
diversity. Even within the Dinka group, there are like 25 subclans, and you probably know more about that because you're part Dinka.
Yep.
What type of Dinka are you?
So I'm Dinka, and I'm from the Mok Luol Yak,
And you're also part Shilluk.
partially.
So you're Nuer, but what part of Nuer are you?
well, I'm Nuer, but I failed to mention that my dad's mom is Dinka. and choose Dinka Bur. So I'm Gajok, so I'm Nuer, and I'm from the Gajok tribe within the Nuer.
What is it like when you meet other Nuer people or you meet other Dinka or Shilluk people?
I mean, it's like we connect in ways that are, beyond such like a tight-knit community.
For me, like, I think it's awesome when I run across a person that speaks the same language as I speak, so that I keep that language, I remember that language always.
Yeah, especially like also me identifying as Nuer, but also having Dinka.
I'm Dinka and I'm mixed with Shilluk.
I think that's a blessing, though. You got two different worlds in you. I'm half Korean, half European. And we're all American. So, so obviously, we don't have time to discuss all the groups and their traditions. That would take way too long. But
come on, Barbs. Like, upload schedule's terrible. You upload longer videos. At that point, you just go all in and just talk about all of them.
Home of the largest group, the Dinka,
oh my God.
well as other
Bro,
melodic
look at that
groups.
map.
This area is predominantly
There's a whole
made of
mass,
shrubland,
bro.
which makes it perfect for cattle, which plays a
Bro,
huge part
too many
of the
ethnicities
Then you have the greater Upper
in
Nile.
Africa.
This is the largest
Too many
wetland area,
tribes.
seasonally flooded with marshes and river tributaries.
This is home to most of the Nuer people, as well as some of the Dinka and other tribes like the Shilluk, Anuak, and Birta.
The Shilluk and Anuak are actually famous for having kingdoms that formed centuries ago.
Finally, you have the Equatoria, the southern part of the country. This is the agriculture zone where most
I don't know why.
of the
That
from.
it just came on my
Also
head
home
when
to
I
the most ethnically
I thought
diverse region in
Equatoria.
the country. You get a lot of tribes here.
Here you find dozens of tribes and clans
looks like a mess.
Bari, Mandari, Toposa,
Too many.
Tuku, and the largest non-Nilotic tribe, the Azande.
All right, so what are some things about the South Sudanese culture and things that you've taken notes of from your understanding? How would you go about it? What would you say?
Because marriage is such a beautiful thing. It's huge in our culture. But another thing that I do want to talk about it is our ghost marriages, I guess. When a girl or a boy pass away young, a family member can get married and have children on behalf of the deceased.
And this happens commonly throughout many different tribes, right?
Different tribes. It's Nuer, Dinka, I believe the Shilluk tribe also, but there are different types of scarring that are done by needle. And in Nuer, the forehead scars that go over the forehead that are like lines, it's called gar. And there are dots, and that's bir. It's completely normal and it's respected in the culture.
And the cuts is to distinguish like what tribe you're from.
Everybody has a story.
Is it just me, or did I hear a car go off? Like, if you're watching the original video, if you hear that, like, did you hear that too? I heard that, bro.
It's basically a dodgeball game where there's like 4 girls on every side of one girl in the middle, and they just whip a ball at her, and she has to dodge them. And speaking of sports, let's go to Art with the sports part.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm on daddy duty. This is awkward, but let's do it. Athletics in South Sudan. All right. One of the favorite pastimes of the tribe. I don't know if I can do this. It's distracting.
He just looks like
One of
he
the most
just
favorite
doesn't want to
pastimes
be
people
there.
have in South Sudan is wrestling. It's mostly practiced though by the Dinka, Mundari, and Lakota peoples, and often events are held every month. The objective is pretty simple. You just slam your opponent on the ground. Otherwise, South Sudan is known for a lot of other athletic
I would say
accolades.
so
In
wrestling,
the
but
2016 Olympics, there were
sound.
5 South Sudanese athletes actually. They competed for the first time under the refugee Olympic team. Otherwise, it's well known that many of the South Sudanese diaspora in
Olympics,
Australia
the size
have
is
been
so
drafted
nice,
into
but
AFL,
when I
making a
include
name
more
for
than 30
themselves. If there's
seconds,
one
because I
sport
can't
that's
find
really
that.
put South Sudan on the
I
map,
moved
it would
on,
probably
so
be
I
basketball. If there's
just-
one
I need to
player that
stop.
everybody knows from South Sudan in the NBA, it would probably be Manute Bol, tied for the tallest player ever in the NBA. Manute also had the longest arm span in NBA history. These
Look at that
advantages
guy.
made him one of the most imposing defensive players in the NBA. He set many block shot records, and the only player in the NBA to have more block shots than points scored. Later on, one of his many sons, Bolbo, actually followed in his footsteps and got recruited to the Miami Heat and then later to the Denver Nuggets. Wow. Mikhail, are you gonna carry on my legacy? Not Savannah!
Thank you, Art.
So I would say like
Why?
10%
Why?
on paper, 90% is really taught through spoken language and storytelling.
We want to unite everybody from South Sudan together and make it even stronger. That's the only way.
Amen. You got to move forward together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much to talk about the culture. So you know what? Let's just give Hannah a little bit of a rundown on the general culture of South Sudan. Hannah, take it away.
All right. So there are a
Low
ton of groups of
sucral
people in
ounces,
South Sudan, so there's
oil,
not really
oil.
one cultural experience. But there are
Let's see
some
this.
universal principles that everyone seems to adhere to. For one, similar to many nations in the area, age is very important. It's a really big no-no to insult an elder, and if you do it, it's kind of like a curse. Often cattle are considered a bigger form of wealth than actual money or other commodities. Someone give me a cow. In fact, it's actually kind of rare that the South Sudanese would eat cattle. The meat is usually reserved for a big occasion or for somebody really important who's visiting. Like in the Rwanda episode, South Sudanese will actually trade cattle during a marriage. It's like a cattle dowry tradition. And this is why bartering culture is really important, and not just for marriage dowries. You can do it for pretty much anything. You can trade things for crops, labor, clothing, whatever. This is because most of the country operates under customary law. This is why social structures like marriages are addressed in the home, community, and tribal councils. Everywhere on the streets and walls, especially in Juba, you will see acrylic murals with the overarching theme of peace. Many are done by the Visual Art Association group Anadaban. You'll see hashtag Anadaban on many of these murals. And speaking of art, there is an amazing story about South Sudan's film industry, starting with the Woyi film and TV industry, a group that was created out of a refugee camp, and now they make movies in South Sudan. So if you want to learn more about that, follow me on Filmography Now. It's my new YouTube channel. Hannah has a spin-off. Hannah has a spin-off.
Film.
Which brings us to Keith, who is actually back from Florida, moving to Los Angeles. Are we happy about it? Are we sad? Comment below. Let us know.
Happy.
Keith.
Happy.
Hola!
Yeah, he's the lieutenant.
Just so you all know, this is a band from Sri Lanka. They're called Shihara. The singer of the band, she loves geography now, so she sent this shirt in. Woo! Drink root beer.
It really is root beer, not real beer.
Yes, root beer. And I'm back in LA. All right, South Sudan.
I feel like
Today,
LA is
music
terrible.
is
I've
actually
never
seeing
been
a
to it,
huge
but
revival. During the years
judging
when they
by
were in Sudan,
people's
especially in the 90s,
experience
much of the
and
music tracks and
videos,
the
I
recordings
feel
were
like
actually
it's
destroyed
terrible.
because Sudan actually wanted to promote their
Honestly,
During
maybe
that
I
time,
would
though,
live
there
in
was an
LA,
underground movement
but
that
not
sidestepped the government
not
restrictions.
long.
South Sudanese
I don't
artists
know.
would intentionally mix different
LA
languages
just-
and music styles to be able to covertly hide their meanings of their songs. And in 2005, these artists collaborated. This moment sparked a cultural
He's like me.
milestone. From
These
then,
artists
many
come
notable artists have come out.
in the
These
49th
people.
minute,
This one's known
this
about
player
making a
did
song
this.
about big butts. I got one of those. I look forward to seeing many great artists in the future. If you know any more, write in the comments below. Oh, before I go, if you guys remember the South Africa episode, I talked about a song called Doof Doof by an artist named Synth Peter. He's got nominated to win essentially what is a Grammy Award for South Africa. Cheers to you guys. I'm Keith, the real Florida man.
Thank you, Keith. All right, and with that,
Florida
it's time to
people.
move on to our last segment, the Friends of South Sudan. Let's go.
So South Sudan,
Yeah, let's
but
go.
some of our diplomatic relationships go back thousands of years.
So with South Sudan, upon their independence, many countries immediately decided to recognize them, including all members of the United Security Council, followed by admittance into many IGOs, such as the African Union, the East African Community, and weirdly enough, even the Arab League. However, there is currently a strong opposition to membership, since there is only a small Arab-speaking community, and also it kind of reminds them of their past. So, yeah. The first country to recognize them,
That would
obviously,
have
was
been
their
actually.
former ruler, Sudan.
Never
Today,
mind.
relations with Sudan is
I
kind of,
would say that would be
interesting.
cool.
Obviously,
but
the war still has lasting ramifications on the way that they perceive Sudan today, and usually it's not the most favorable view, but more like a, let's just not talk about it and move on. But hey, good luck, which is where the new stuff comes in. As mentioned, the US and UK are the largest donors of aid to South Sudan, and also hold the largest communities of South Sudanese people in diaspora outside of Africa, followed by Canada and Australia, most of whom as refugees during war times. In addition, South Sudan also applied to become a member of the Commonwealth of Nations. Speaking of which, India
Well,
and
they were
Bangladesh have been
British.
key
Okay,
figures
never
in their
mind. They were a
internal
British
development
colony.
affairs. In fact, the first ever state visit from a president happened in 2015 as Salva Kiir met up with Narendra Modi during the India-Africa Forum Summit. Bangladesh also had a hand as the Bangladesh Army Engineering Contingent was deployed to help construct and repair roadways post-war. Today, high-level delegates have also been sent to explore future investment opportunities, mostly in the agricultural field. When it comes to their closest friends, however, most South Sudanese people I have talked to will either say one of three three
Yeah.
East African nations,
Yeah.
Ethiopia, Kenya,
Yeah.
or Uganda. In addition to sharing some of the tribal
Yeah.
overlap over the borders, all three of these nations took in the most refugees during war times, and many of the diaspora spent their whole lives generationally within them. Ethiopia played a huge role in helping with negotiations during the South Sudan Civil War in 2013, and peace agreements were signed here as well. In addition, Ethiopia always has their eye on South Sudan, as they are Nile River nations that have a huge impact on anything that eventually flows back up to Egypt. Kenya was
Yeah.
one of the strongest supporters of their independence. Like Ethiopia, they acted as a mediator during conflict with Sudan, as the Machakos Protocol was signed here in 2002, creating a ceasefire. However, after that, they were always leaning with South Sudan all the way up to their independence in 2011. In addition, Kenya provides much of the financial services and commercial banks to South Sudan and imports much of their wood, and as mentioned before, is currently working on constructing pipelines to assist their oil industry, giving them
Yeah,
access
let's
to
go.
the Indian Ocean. Uganda
Forget
also held much during
Sudan.
conflict years, and since then has become their largest import partner. South Sudan prefers to buy Ugandan produce more than any other nation, and a railway is currently underway to assist furthering trade. In addition, they have a very strong educational exchange, as many students study abroad in Uganda and complete their undergraduate or graduate studies here or in Kenya. Also, Uganda and Kenya send the most teachers over to
I
South
don't know
Sudan
why,
to
but I
assist
feel
their
like this
shortage
is
in
like
the
the
profession.
longest
Overall, together, these
friendly
three
group
countries are
segment.
usually the go-to people
I don't
for
know
South
why.
Sudan that they can depend on, and probably will for the foreseeable future.
So, in conclusion, I'm going to give it to you.
We come from such a beautiful country with beautiful culture, with so much diversity within just one country.
I'd also like to add on that in South Sudan, we need people that are interested or that want to make change. The only way to build the future is from the youth. My favorite thing about South Sudan is everyone is so united. It's like when you walk outside, everyone is your family. It just, everyone feels like home. It all feels like home.
Thank you too. It's been
Yeah.
awesome having you in the episode. Thank you so much for
Let's
just sharing
go.
what you wanted to share about South Sudan. And with that, the next episode is going to be Suriname.
Suriname in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. We do love Suriname, guys. I'm so excited for the next month, which I'll probably be in school crying because I'm in AP Euro. But anyways, folks, that's gonna be it for this video. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below what I should react while Barbs is working on the new episode. So anyways, guys, that's gonna be it. And yeah, have a good rest of your night or morning, because I might be uploading in the morning because I'm recording this at like 1 in the morning. Yeah, 1:52. So yeah, anyways, enjoy your day. See ya.